Yo, what up guys? Altered Carbon 1's almost here, so I figured it's about time that I do the videos that I promised you about 2 years ago. My bad. But please make sure you've seen season 1 before watching this video, because what we're going to do is we're going to highlight one difference between the books and the show, one thing that the books left out, and use that as a way of sort of very high level recapping what happened in season 1 of Altered Carbon. Netflix's show adaptation of Altered Carbon was very similar to the book, but there are some key differences, especially in terms of where the story is going to go beyond season 1. One of the first differences that we came across is the Suntouch house. In the books, it's on the ground, and it's named as such due to the beautiful color that the setting sun makes upon the estate. And in the books, there's a tree there that is over 700 years old. We're going to get to that, but let's not skip over the show version of the Suntouch house, since it has its own strengths. First off, the name takes on new meaning. Suntouch is up in the clouds, closer to the sun than the small folk, the peons, the grounders. The show version of Suntouch house is also a nod to this place, Head in the Clouds. And if you don't recall, Head in the Clouds plays a very important role later in the story. And last, the show version of Suntouch house is symbolic. Rich people, like the Bancrofts, they live above everyone else figuratively, and they think of themselves almost as gods, since they can afford to back up their stacks, and in effect, they become semi-immortal. But the book version is cool too, specifically because of a little passage about a big tree. Not to be confused with this awesome tree, the Songspire. We'll be getting to this another day. For today, let's focus on the over 700-year-old tree from the books, a gnarled monster taller than the house. When Lawrence Bancroft bought the property, he hired a design engineer, and the engineer wanted to chop the tree down since the tree would have spoiled the view of the ocean. So what did Bancroft do? He fired the engineer, which brings us to the key passage for this video. This back and forth right here, we'll get back to it, cuz these two quotes happen very early in the story, and they summarize the ending. Talk about great writing. Here's what I mean. If you don't recall, Lawrence Bancroft murdered a girl. He then went home and he killed himself before his DHF was backed up.
It's alleged Bancroft killed himself in an attempt to escape feeling guilt for his crime.
The fool wanted to forget, as if that would make him clean up what he'd done.
So basically, Bancroft was not only a criminal, he was a selfish, entitled coward.
Just a coward.
The cops conducted an investigation and they concluded that Bancroft killed himself, which he did. So that was that. Case closed. The cops moved on. Bancroft could have gotten away with the murder if he could move on, but he could not.
His arrogance wouldn't let him believe he killed himself.
Somebody wants me dead.
He was paranoid that someone wanted him dead. So Bancroft spun up Kovacs to investigate the crime, and in the end, it backfired. Kovacs discovered Bancroft's crime. He discovered how Bancroft had killed a girl at Head in the Clouds. Now let's go back to Bancroft's statement and Kovacs' thought about Ortega. Bancroft thought of himself as the tree, the old tree that the police just wanted to chop down. And Kovacs thought how there was another tree for Ortega, the tree called Law, and that in her eyes, Bancroft himself was banging nails into the tree. And that is exactly what happened. The cops did not chop down the old tree. Bancroft, the old tree, he chopped himself down. What a tool.
Whatever answer you may seek, it is precisely where you are not looking.
You thought you were God. You're more like the devil himself.